Greetings, everybody. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers. Episode 18. Building a contingency plan for death. So I don't know exactly how many steel frames I'm going to need, but let's get like 10 and work out some sort of pattern. And it's going to be easiest when the sun is up, and the sun just came out, so now's the time to do this. I don't have any spare iron I do. Ooh, perfect. I wanted exactly 2 iron sheets. So with the sun, it will just be easier to see where, like, how to lay out the pattern for the frames for the solar tower. Because at night, it's hard to visualize the arc of the sun. And an auto lathe mod would have been nicer. I would have been cranking these out a little bit better. I think the upgraded version is faster. If I'm not mistaken. There we go. First thing I want to do is to deal with the iron stuff. So I was thinking about putting an iron... Oops. I launched myself. Putting an iron frame here and then welding both. Just a little bit. Just like a solid walkway around the base. Goes a long way. So I don't have to go out to the ground to run over here. I don't have a full pathway, but like, I could, it's the first step of many. Steel frame time? So the sun rose at about, I don't know. All right, this is 89% efficient, so there's some room for improvement. But the sun rose, and I'm going to want to go this, not corner cut. I want side. I want to go like this way with it. Like that. And then a solid frame, which needs to be welded. But I'll just lay out the unwelded parts first. And then another side. And then a solid frame. And I can fill in the other sides too, if I want. Just for design sake. What would that look like? This. So it looks like a true diagonal. And I'm going to set up the other panel here. Uh-oh. I'll probably weld the corner pieces. And this is so that the solar panels don't actually block each other. And we can install this as a... also, it's worth noting, you have to be really careful when you're welding on things you're standing on, because it's pretty easy to, like, weld yourself into it and then kill yourself. Alright. So we've got this diagonal thing going on over here. And, let's quickly... My panels have done that. I wanted to quickly see if these two ever block each other before committing to this diagonal pattern. But I don't know if there's enough time left in the day to... This frickin' daytime is so short. Maybe. Maybe if I'm lucky. Maybe if I'm quick. So the data port has to face the same direction. So it has to face... This data port faces 0. So the data port over here has to face 0. That's the only important bit. So data port at 0. And then we just wire up for power and data. So I'll put the other two away. Somehow. Let's see. Belt there. Oh, label there. There we go. And let's cable it up. Ah, God damn it. Keep falling into the diagonals. Those are not truly solid. No, that's a crowbar. That's not a wire cutter. So this requires a lot more, like, copper cabling for the diagonal. But that a little extra copper cabling, the benefit is that the panels won't block each other for, you know, for the sun, and should be more efficient as a result. Unfortunately, cables don't go diagonal like the frames can. So I'll probably could rewire it, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to avoid the center corners. Now, whatever this efficiency is, 80%, this should be at the same. Oh God, I'm falling again. Yeah, 81, 81. They don't really block it. There'll be maybe a brief moment that they block each other. So what? And this is exactly why I did a proof of concept. So I might need to have this go up one. Nope, never mind. It dropped behind Saturn, so it's a non-issue. So that was the entire daytime. So I got this just in time. It wasn't actually generating any power, but I got it just in time for a full day-night cycle. So let's wire this one up for transmitting power. And then, and unfortunately, this is like not easy to scale. It requires like me to, you know, the wiring is annoying, in other words. The wiggle wiring. It would be faster if I just put down a bunch of the top halves and the bottom halves like this. We'll come up with a wiring scheme that is easy to replicate in mass. Like that. And I'll do the I'll fix the bottom to look like that too. The squiggle. The epic squiggle. But you just don't want these two, the two cables touching each other, because you'll have like a feedback loop problem. Because then if they touch each other, this data, it will start transmitting power the wrong way into the base, skipping the whole kit battery. Right? Don't want that. That's how you blow cables up. Alright, so we got the squiggle. And the efficiency could be improved with some better logic, but like, essentially this is the layout. So let's replicate, I don't know if I have enough cables, but let's replicate this on the other side. And I'm gonna need more frames for that, because I used a lot more frames for one panel than I would have otherwise. Oh, and this is, I think, the, like, second of sun before it dips behind the horizon again. Right? So, we have a moment of sun, and then it's gone again. Below horizon. Ah! Frickin' planet with its fake sun. But that's why the day-night cycle here is, like, strange as hell. Because of the way the horizon works. So if I really wanted to be cheap with this, I could just have, like, floating frames. Because essentially it is, we're building on a diagonal. So just so that I can lay out the other panel, I'll do it, and I'll fill in the sides afterwards. So data faces 0 degrees, which is this way. Yep. So that's the data port, power port. And then we need more squiggle, but I'm definitely going to run out of cables for the squiggle. I'm gonna look at a word because it's just floating cable. Game doesn't care. Ah! I'm not done! Why'd you pull the ripcord? Okay. Complicated solar tracking. How... So close to having enough cables for at least the data tracking for this. Alright, time to go print. Yeah, I'll just let gravity bring me down. Chunk. How is Spuds doing? Alright, I have no problems with food shortages, really, at all. I could be selectively breeding the good ones, but potato's a potato to me, so I'm just not doing that. Oh, it has been a while since I've taken off my suit. My hygiene's getting bad. And this should not... Oh, I did just turn that on. So cable... And we'll print 24 cables, because that's all the copper I have, and we need more copper if I want more cables. We went through all the copper I had in the base. Base is... Because I'm not, like, using a lot of power in this base, I have, like, a grow light. And occasionally I have some things powered on. The temperature's pretty stable. It hasn't really gone up. I've been sitting at 29C for a long time now, so I could endeavor to add AC, but it certainly is not there's no urgency. And there's a lot of ways to solve it that are like super low tech and easy. Now, one thing I don't have, however, is... I wonder if the Stationpedia... So, a big thing I haven't done, because I assumed I was not going to die, is a respawn point. A respawn point basically says, when dead, be here. It's kind of important, because if I didn't set that, I'd respawn naked somewhere outside, which is a nightmare. Having a respawn point in a oxygenated, temperature-controlled base, a lot nicer than all of a sudden showing up outdoors and just dying again, and being in an infinite death loop. I hadn't built that yet, but that's, like, kind of low-key important to build. Luckily, I haven't had need for it, but, like, you don't want to wait until you need it, because if you wait until you need it, you're screwed. So maybe once I'm done with the solar project, I will, I'll do that at least, because, like, I'm flirting with disaster, having put that off. Alright, let's get the rest of the, or as much cabling as I can done with the cables that I've got, and then we'll mine up some copper and get ourselves like a respawn area. And the respawn alone isn't enough. You're gonna want like a spare suit at the very least, so you can go like fetch your stuff. It really depends on how you die, because if you die like tragically in a giant explosion, there's probably not gonna be much to go fetch. You nuked it all. It went poof. But if you didn't die in a tragic, crazy explosion, then yeah, there should be some stuff to go fetch, and fetching it is smart so that you don't have to, you know, reprint a full set of tools and everything else. But you need the very least a basic suit to get you physically to where you died, or it's a wash. It's a waste. This kind of reminds me of how the whole, like, if you build wiggly walls, you use less bricks overall because the wavy walls are more stable. Brick waves are more stable than straight ones. So you have these old border fences made of brick that are like basically this wave. Of course, cables don't need to be stable. But there you go. We have 3 solar. In order to really make it finished, I'm going to print 2 more frames so that we don't have this weird gap thing going on. But it's done. The first pass at a tower. The other thing to add to the tower, potentially, is some sort of, like, beacon light. So the current priority right now is to... well, let's finish the tower. So I need 2 steel frames to say that it's, like, done. Just for the aesthetics. And then we'll need copper to print up like some sort of light. Now, if I'm using the beacon, it's unnecessary, but I want a light. You can have colored lights. If you the data port for these lights here, for LED lights specifically, can allow you to have like colored lights. So you could do all sorts of manner of things. You can even have a color-coded light up there to be like, to matching, you know, the state of your battery. So you can know if your base is low on power from a distance or something like that. There's a lot of things. There's really an endless amount of like creativity that you can get once you're, you know, starting to write logic to lights and LED screens and diodes and the whatnot. All right. We're out of water bottles, but I don't need to solve that right now. We still have some water, you know, in my storage tanks. I haven't done a water batch in a while, but it's not to say that we couldn't afford one. All right. Power tower is as done going to be for now. So, right now what I want to do is mine copper and make a respawn and protect, make a protected respawn. Meaning like a spare suit, you know, so that like if I die out the base, I can go fetch my stuff. Because when you die, you just, like, drop your stuff. Yeah, everything is dropped. So at the very least, I'm going to need, like, a suit with a battery, a filter, some oxygen, so a tank, so that I can get my stuff back. It's not a lot. It's not very expensive, but it can resolve a lot of pain if and when you die, to make the death penalty not obnoxious. And, yep. So, I am looking for copper again. The last copper node that I hit, I had exhausted, so we're gonna have to hit something new. I'll go... let's activate the beacon. And also, finally remember to turn off this here, because that's like 50 watts that I don't need to be spending. Activate the beacon. Literally put it in my path, and I still forget to use it. Oh, well, that's copper. Oh, no, that's lead. It looks the same color. Fool me once. Not fool's gold, it's fool's copper. So I can wander anywhere I want. I don't need to consider where home is, as long as my base has power, that beacon is powered. And, it will be easy to return home. So we're looking for like a dull yellow for copper or surface deposits that we see. I keep like wandering in an arc back to home. I'll just run in one direction. And it looks like we're about to get sun up because I can see it cresting over this hill. And that will make it a lot easier to spot the green stuff. But yeah, you can see the panels and how they have basically direct sunlight from here. Good stuff. If I were using the integrated circuits, would I program using assembly? You program them in MIPS, which is the language that this game allows. Oh, cobalt. I'll have to remember it's here. I don't really have a need for cobalt right now, and I don't have a lot of slots in my belt. So I'm not going to bother mining it, because I have no use for it yet. Cobalt is required for the tier 2 alloys. Forget my ore scanner. I'll just find copper. With my own eyeballs. There's the green stuff right there. Oh, and there's silver as well. So silver, if you're wondering, ore scanner is the looks the same as coal and looks the same as silicon. It's just yet another gray, which is like cool. Super helpful. Thanks, game. Oops, I accidentally started mining it too. There it refreshed. That might be it. There could be more, but I got 127. That's fine for now. It's really easy to top up. While I'm here, might as well get some iron. I'll just do a batch of that too. I'm sure I'll use it. So I get 100 iron. Oops. Okay. I got 100 something iron. You can use your drill to just pick stuff up too. You don't have to actually pick. Whoa! I picked up 50? Oh my god. we overmined by a factor of 50%. The other thing I'm eager to see is how much power the panels are generating. I know they're not perfectly efficient, and I certainly could tweak them. If I had more panels, I would bother tweaking them, but because they're only generating 50 watts and they could be generating 60 watts, it's oh well, I lost 30 watts due to inefficiency, not a big deal. When you scale up, that's a bigger deal, because it's oh god, I lost 300 watts, which is a significant amount. That's the entire cost of my beacon. But, yeah, there's my base. Beacon off. And how much power is this? I'm sure it's a pathetic amount. 155 watts. And that is not even net positive, because I'm sure the base is needing more than that. But, it helps me to, keep the levels up. It might not be much, but it's still helpful. I'm okay. Do I have space for... There. I needed extra space. I can't. The sun's up, so my ice is outside my belt would melt, so I needed free belt space. Do the copper first. I guess I'll just leave that iron in there. Is the old mining belt filled with ice? It's not filled. It just has some. And then do the iron. I thought I had more iron than I thought I had 150. Did I just count wrong? I'm gonna go with I don't know how to do math. This is down to about 900 degrees, so I could still use it, but it's running low on temp. So I'm gonna vent it out. That's gonna be enough metals for whatever I'm doing right now, anyway. I guess, yep, solar panels are off. How much power am I drawing? 350? So, we almost have half the base powered by solar. Oh, and my e-printer just turned on, so it would be like 250. Yeah. So you have like 3 panels. It was pretty quick, and during the day, and obviously that is not accounting for the whole night cycle, so you would need to generate significantly more and then store it in the battery for the nighttime. But like, given enough mining, you can obviously scale up to have a solar-powered Mimas base. Doesn't seem to be much of an issue. Okay, my waste tank is full as hell, so let's fart it out. I actually don't know why I didn't scream waste tank caution at me. It really ought to have. It was just that full. And I'm gonna wait for this to fill up and then swap it again. Is there a final goal of the game? It's a sandbox. So, it might be launching a rocket. It might be you physically traveling off of the wherever you are if you're role-playing as marooned. But there's a lot of stuff to do beyond that, so I wouldn't even say that that's like a good goal. It's a sandbox game, so it's largely up to you. Got a fresh ox tank. My propellant's fine. So, back to what we were doing. Respawn. In case of death. Where is that's autolathe? Yeah. So I need to move my copper in there. And then after that, I'm going to need probably the toolmaker for all the, and a battery, and yeah. So we're going to want a spare suit of stuff. There's the respawn beacon. Or the kit respawn, rather. Backup suit should have a large battery, because it ain't much of a backup if it runs out of power halfway to your goal. So I'm gonna have a... If I die, I'll have a spawn point here. And now it's set. So if I die, I pop back naked here. Next to the cat, judging my nudity. Then we need the battery. A large battery. Spare to stick in the suit. So copper and steel, which is in here. And then almost everything else will be pipe for the canisters. If I need 2 cans of stuff, I'm not going to bother spray painting it. It will be in the correct spot. So let's get this charged. This will be the one that goes in the suit. Also, I got no water. I don't think there's anything else I need to make on this printer. So I think the rest is in here for the suit. This is going to be 2 canisters, or 3 canisters potentially, because I might need a jetpack to get wherever I'm going. So 3 canisters for just in case. So 2 filled, 1 empty, 1 for waste, the 2 filled for oxygen and propellant. So here's 1 of the 2 full cans. And this is something that, like, reasonably I should have done a lot sooner. It was gamble that I hadn't done it until now. Is this why I was saying that I wanted an extra spare suit? Yes. So if I died, if you die, you drop your everything you have on you. And then you have a skull, I guess. You initially, what happens when you die? Well, it depends on how you die. But let's say I like run out of power or oxygen out there. I'll actually black out. I won't die immediately. And the reason for that is if you're playing multiplayer, you can physically drag another player to a safer environment, or pick up that player and swap out batteries or filters or whatever they needed that they had them black out. So generally in the process, there's kind of 2 ways to die, which is like you ran out of oxygen, filters, power, and you black out. And then there's the I exploded and I'm super instantly dead. So assuming that you are either way, you create a corpse unless you're rescued. But I'm single player, so I'm not rescued. I'm screwed. So let's say I die. My stuff drops on the ground and on my body. And eventually bodies will decay to like a skull. As like a trophy. Skulls for the Golden Throne. I don't know. But then you respawn naked. And if you want your stuff back, you gotta go get it. So a spare suit allows you to actually go fetch it. Because if I didn't have a spare suit, if I don't make a spare suit, I just pop in like this, naked, and then what? If I don't have the materials inside the base to print up the spare suit, the battery, the filters, the canisters, I can't go get my stuff. I'm basically stranded in my own base as life number 2. So I don't want that. I don't want to be stranded in my own base. That would be a terrible situation to be in. So I'm making a spare suit so that that doesn't happen to me. So we have oxygen and propellant, and then this is my backup air. That will fill up. And that's why I'm doing all of this. So my own suit is the standard EVA suit. I don't need a fancier one, especially as a spare. So we got the EVA suit. And when you're holding the EVA suit, you've got the air tank, the waste tank, the life support. I will also obviously need a CO2 filter. And then we need a helmet. Oh my god. There it is, space helmet. They're very cheap, fortunately. They're you would think they're like a lot more expensive because they're like the cost of like a crowbar. Like it's ridiculously cheap to have a spare. It's just so nice to have a spare. The other thing is I'm probably going to want a basic jetpack with propellant and maybe a portable light. I'll have a headlamp. Well, my headlamp will be fine. I don't need a portable light. The other thing is, like, you have to know where you died, so, like, that's part of the battle as well. But let's at least get the jetpack, because we can't assume that we can physically get there. It's a basic jetpack, and that requires lead, which I've actually never made lead. Lead's really easy to make, though, so that will only take me a second. Now, there is a potential suit rack that we can make. I think that's the autolathe. I could also look it up like this. Suit. Storage. Is made on a pipe bender. Okay. But let's go get that lead. For the jetpack. Because that's my propellant for it. And then the last thing we need is the CO2 filter, which is going to be on the pipe bender as well. So we'll get the suit rack and the filter after I make the jetpack. So 8 ore, whatever. I'm gonna be lazy and just auto lathe it. It was how much? Jetpack basic is 5? Okay. So we've smelted 2, we smelted 3. We're almost done. 4. 5. Time to sweeten our wine. Carbon filter, made of iron. My iron's in here, so it's gonna take a second. The purpose of the suit rack is so that you can put your suit down and have, like, it tended to. But I'm gonna have a dumb suit rack. I'm not gonna have one hooked up to stuff. It's just gonna hold junk. Carbon dioxide filter. Check. And that's going in the suit. Because the oxygen tank is pure oxygen, so I really only need a CO2 filter. I don't need a filter out of the gases. And then suit. Storage. Which needs... Oh, silver. Don't have that either. Well, at the very least... I'll go get the silver. But at the very least, this is all set to be worn. This is all set as well. And then helmet's all set. So that's a full spare. Which is funny because my character's like, hey, I've been wearing a suit too long. Okay, yeah, fine, whatever. So that's a full spare that I can toss on in a pinch and, you know, not do the whole I'm dead and can't come back thing. Awesome. How much water I got in here? Am I needing to do a... Oh, yeah. It's empty. So there's 7 liters in there, but there's 0 here, so I'm going to need to process some water. Luckily, I've set up all the logic for it. Let's reveal the logic as we filter our water. Celebrate our nonsense that's written up there. Alright, this is... Oh, did I run out of a... yeah, it equalized. So, if I want to produce more gas... Let's take off our belt. Take off our pants and our... Never mind. And then I also intended to use the nitrice, or whatever you call it, to make more coolant. So there, as you can see, N2O, it's kind of turned into a liquid. Filter quicker! Won't be liquid. Shoot. Shoot. Alright, well there's gonna be a lot less stress on the system out here. I'm gonna want to drain. Let me make a drain so I don't screw something up. Oopsie poopsie. And we're gonna want to install this drain outside because I don't want NOS. I don't want to breathe NOS. No, thank you. Let's make sure that things are okay. Let's turn this off and turn that off. Actually, I want to keep this on. But I'm gonna stop pushing... Okay, yeah, the stress was getting naughty. We're going to want to push through the system fast so that it does not build up. But at this temperature and pressure, it is turning to liquid, and we don't want that. So I won't do that with this nitrace. And rather than to fix it, because I'm not using it right now, I'm just going to put it away. Put it in the belt. The old belt. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers, which originally streamed live on Twitch as a marathon, one time only. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I am not, however, looking for feedback. I asked for no backseating for the series, and also, because this streamed one time only, feedback wouldn't be able to be incorporated anyway. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com also has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that made it all the way to the credits. So thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode for an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Stationeers.